Welcome back. It's now 27 minutes to 8. Time for the way it is right here on Morning Express. And in case you're joining us now on the panel, we have Honorable Authoritative, who's a former Member of Parliament for Teso North. We're also joined by Honorable Joshua Kimilu, who is a Member of Parliament, Kaiti constituency. And last but not least, Professor Gitile Naituli, who is a former NCIC Commissioner and would just like to weigh in on the political scene. And of course, the weekend was one that was filled with political rhetoric, left, right and center. And let's start off with those remarks that were made by the president at the burial of the mother of Honorable Musalia Mudavadi.
Mimi naweza nisimame hapa basi niseme kuna jamii tu mbili za Kenya ambazo zimetawala, labda ni nafasi ya jamii nyingine pia kutawala. Au ni namna gani jameni? Au ni namna gani? Au ni namna gani? Au ni namna gani? Jamii za Kenya ni mingi. Sio tu kuja kutupatupa maneno huko na ujui ni nini unasema, kulete hasira na uhasima kati ya Wakenya. We want one strong, united Kenya of 48 million people. That is the nation that we seek, that is the nation that we desire. Kwa hivyo, hiyo ndiyo barabara ambaye sisi tutatembea.
All right, so it looks like a bare-knuckle battle between the president and, as it were, the deputy president. But let's start with those remarks which some have termed as unfortunate. And I'll start with you, Honorable Arthur Odera. Do you agree that those are unfortunate remarks coming from the head of state, who is meant to be a symbol of peace?
The response to those remarks yesterday seemed to be asking the president, is that your position? Is that your political position? Having said what you said in the funeral of Mama Hannah, is that your political position? And I'm sure the president will be hard-pressed to try and respond to that and say either it was said either in jest or in anger, or to say that is the position. The other thing, of course, is that, and I think this is important, the president was responding to something that the Tanga team has been saying, positioning the country and positioning the 2022 election as a battle between the haves and the have-nots. Essentially, it's an economic argument. That's why it is so compelling. Tanga is offering a strong economic argument without any logic behind it, but just an economic argument that says you, the poor, you, the downtrodden, you, the guys that suffer without food and school fees, we are working for you. Those other guys are working for the rich and powerful. And I said without any strong argument. Unfortunately, that obscures the arguments about this is my economic plan. This is what I will do for this country if I'm elected president. The whole exchange obscures the real meat of what we would like to hear behind that. I would like to see the president come out without seeming to respond to anyone to state his political position. All right. The president, if he has a political position, like he makes us think he has, he should state his political position. He should pursue his political position. That's within his rights, without waiting to respond to what the other guys have said. And as a father of the nation, as a symbol of unity, as head of state and head of government, as someone that was elected by Kenyans to lead them, Mr. President, please get rid of the anger. Okay. Speak to us calmly. We will listen to you.
And we'll listen. Let me hear from Professor. Professor, there are those who term the president's sentiments, particularly in that speech, as unfortunate. However, the truth of the matter is all the president has done is put on the table what Kenyans generally discuss in their cocoons. Maybe what may be different is that he has put it right on the table, bare knuckle. Do you feel that this was unfortunate, and do you feel that this was possibly different from what Kenyans feel?
You are right. Kenyans discuss these things under the table. But as the end of state, I think there was quite a bit of incitement in driving towards that statement by the president. What, as a country, we really want to hear from the end of state is that we elect individuals in this country. We don't elect tribes. We don't elect communities. We don't even elect families. we elect individuals. That's the language I believe the president should have used. But I think also we need to be more accommodative as a country for the president to guide us through this transition without us falling back into the divisions of previous years. You need to detach also from politics, and because it's not right even what the Mheshimiwa has said, the president needs to define his political position. The president's political position is to peacefully deliver us through this transition into 2022, so the country continues in being intact and continues in being peaceful. There were people there who, like Charity Ngilo, for example, who are clearly inciting the public. And the NCC, in my opinion, need to have a look at what Ngilo said. We can't, as a country, have an agenda of stopping anybody from being president unless that person is a criminal and is stopped by the law. But not us as individuals, because we have equal rights. This is how we maintain peace. This is how we also maintain the ownership of Kenya as our people.
All right.
So there was quite a bit of incitement, and so the president, he didn't have to respond to that. He needs to go beyond that.
And what in your opinion, what in your opinion would be going beyond? What does that look like, going beyond?
Well, going beyond is the president, because he's not a candidate. He has not declared his candidacy for the president. He's not listening to what he was being told by Malala, take the whip, and the whip who, or what he was being told by Atuoli, or what the Charity Ngilo said. No, it's the president coming there and then telling us, going into our challenges, giving us hope, how we can deal with the challenges of COVID, how we can deal with the challenges of the economics. He doesn't even have to listen to Tanga driving an agenda of the haves and the have-nots.
All right.
Because as politicians, they will find a way of appealing for their votes.
All right.
So the president needs to underrate even that.
Okay, allow me to bring in Honorable Kimilu, and your thoughts on this, and whether you feel the president was being divisive in the statements he made, or he was merely just stating things as we know them to be here in Kenya.
Thank you very much. I think we need to look at the speech with different dimensions, because I think the president was trying to compare the issue of dynasty stroke Asala and the two tribes. And when you listen to the president clearly, he said, maybe. So it's not that, I don't think whether that is the stand of the president, because he did not declare clearly that my stand is, but he said, maybe this is the time for other tribes to lead.
No, but for the president to come out and even say that in a public forum like that, of course, it was very politically charged. So I wouldn't take, or maybe majority wouldn't take the maybe as a maybe, but as a way of communicating to the nation that this is the direction we need to take.
Yeah, so I think as a president, it's not the right direction for him to take. But it was discussed. I think the president was speaking out of anger, because he was responding to the politician. They tried to take him this way, that way. And I want us to know that president is also it's a person, and he's a human being. So sometimes someone can speak out of anger. But I think as a president, it was not the right position for him to take, or the right was to utter to the Kenyans.
There is a certain decorum that a president is supposed to have, and a sense of, holding yourself together regardless of anger. So I'm not sure whether one would excuse him if you feel it was a wrong statement by just virtue of the fact that he was angry. But let's listen into what the deputy president had to say yesterday, and this seems to have been in direct response to the president's speech.
Supported Uhuru Kenyatta, it was not because of his tribe. It was not because he represented any tribe. It was because we agreed on an agenda.
Professor, you mentioned that as a nation we should be looking more at ideas and ideology, and that seems to be what the deputy president is saying we did not vote for him because of his tribe, but it seems to him like suddenly he has woken up and remembered that he belongs to a certain community. Now, the truth of the matter is, Professor, as much as we'd like to be a country of ideology, our politics, our political parties, the way we galvanize our people is purely based on on tribe and not ideas and ideology. So as a politician, one might excuse him for just playing the role of a politician like we've always known it.
Yeah, but we need to grow out of this tribal mobilization, in my opinion, because the Kenyans themselves are not tribal. It's the politicians who are tribal. At the NCIC, we carried out a research to find out whether we trust each other or not. What we found in by and large, and you know we concentrated more on cosmopolitan counties like Migori, like the Western Busia County, Isiolo, Nairobi, Mombasa, the counties which are every Kenyan. We found out that we trust each other properly, that there is no Kenyan who wants an apartment in Nairobi or Mombasa who first go to find out who else lives there so that they can rent. No, they find an empty space, they trust the Kenyans who are there and they go there. So the politicians, they need to grow. This is the point. We here, down here, we are united. We feel that we trust one another. But for their political agendas, they come now and divide us at the end of the election. And this is why people feel that they are frightened, actually, by what the president is saying, because you can isolate the two communities very easily. You can say, we are about 44, I think, so you can say 42 against 2 or whatever. We don't want that language is divisive. It may end up creating problems for us. What we want is to go to see a Kenyan who can offer, just like the Americans, who have to see the intellect and the organization of Barack Obama, and they make him president. So we can have 200 Gikuyu president as long as they are serving us. You see, if Kibaki was younger right now, and he stood for president, he wouldn't be elected across this country, because we saw his work. So the language, the tribe language, we need to avoid it because we have young people who see us as examples. We need to be the perfect example for national unity. So we need to concentrate on issues. When you say Asolas versus dynasty, give us your economic blueprint. Don't give us a slogan.
Okay, all right.
So that we now evaluate you exactly based on that.
On
so
that.
The deputy president.
Okay, I just want to bring in Honorable Dera. Sorry to cut you short there. I'll come back to you in just a bit. But Mheshimiwa, do you agree that, and I'm sure many of us will agree that we need to go to ideology as opposed to tribal or personal politics, but are we there yet? Because let's face it, politics is a game of interest, and a politician will drive the narrative that is going to get them their desired end. So at the point in time we're in, chances are we're going to stay on tribal politics because that's the vehicle that politicians know is going to get them to where they want to go. And even if we listen to the deputy president, yes, he said that he did not elect the president Uhuru Kenyatta based on his tribe, but based on the fact that he had ideas. But then he's still the same person pushing the hustler narrative versus the dynasty narrative, which again is not more of ideas, it's more to do with galvanizing people based on who they are.
Michael, there is a relationship between tribe and the economics in Kenya. Historically, in the all-powerful presidency that we've had since independence, a lot of allocation of resources has been driven by certain individuals that are able to get their foothold on power or get access to power and attract resources towards their ethnic group. And remember, we had the Charity Ngilu presidential bid in 1997. The Anyang' Nyong'o bid for re-election to parliament on SDP ticket, James Orengo, Apollo Njonjo, it fell flat. That was a lesson that ideology is great. We would all want to move there. And it needs a deliberate, concerted effort from top to bottom to reach a point where the arguments come to the fore that are based on ideology, that are based on values, based on broad consensus, where we as a country agree that these are the norms, these are the values that are going to drive us. As it is now, the competition is about the basics. It's about resources. And resources in this country, the allocation of resources centers along or follows the route that the ethnic alliances tend to follow. If you look at Jubilee, for example, who would argue against the belief that Jubilee was more a conglomeration, a coming together of Central Kenya and Rift Valley. Then other ethnic groups came around it. The thing is, when you look at the reality, what happens, and people who get into power, the ethnic route takes you to power. The ideological route does not. And I think I heard Professor very well arguing strongly about the need to have ideology that gives us some grounding to think through issues and therefore be able to make good decisions. Remember though, Socrates, the great philosopher Socrates told us the one thing, the one biggest weakness with democracy is that voters often do not know what they really want. And let's start from there. If the voters are educated, if the voters are clear what they want, if they know how to, the relationship between the people in leadership and their aspirations, and therefore look for character and capability to bring that together with the democratic space that they have, and the democratic freedoms they have, we will get there. But for as long as voters have a different view about how they vote, it will force us to go where they are and bring them on board if you want power.
All right, Honorable Kimilu, how do we change our political landscape given that our leaders are pretty much the ones who sort of direct us in how we are going to go, yet we know that they will stick to tribal lines by virtue of the fact that that's what is going to bring masses and people their way?
Okay, thank you. I think we, politicians, we're the one who prepare this country into a bloodshed. That one, I can say that without fear. Because sometimes we try to make the voters feel that you don't want to sit with so-and-so, you don't want to mix with so-and-so. I remember 6 years ago, I drove through the Kibera slum, and I ran over a piglet. And the people mobilized within no minute, and they wanted to burn my car because I'm driving and they are not driving. So these narratives, they are the ones which are causing people to fight. They are causing bloodshed. Because now, when you are telling Kenyans that about tribal, you are preparing them on tribal lines. That is preparing them that there will be fights. Because if this tribe did not get it, it will hate the other tribe. When you are leading people telling them, Asala passes dynasty, you are preparing Kenyans to fight because you are digging a big trench between the poor and the rich. And we are all Kenyans. Remember 2013, there was a narrative.
But Mheshimiwa, sorry to interrupt. As much as that might be how you view it, the hustler narrative is also coming against the backdrop of Building Bridges initiative, which is a narrative that we are creating positions for leadership. And the question is, we have not even been able to follow the Constitution 2010 as it's supposed to be so far. And then we say it's time for a renewal of the Constitution, or a constitutional moment, as it has been called. That would augur very well with the Mwananchi on the ground, that those are positions that we don't need right now.
But I think when the Building Bridges initiative was being, this kind of BBI, it came like, let's be 3 years ago. And it started with the local Mwananchi. Those people from the Ghana, because people, the task force was sent going around collecting views of the people, or those people they are calling asalas. Everybody gave the view. And now, you cannot come and say now, because this BBI is causing, it's dividing people into the classes. Because I think in the BBI, for one, the people, that's why you see people are saying the BBI, the local Mwananchi is not accepting the BBI. For one, we have to know that government has not given the civic education to the local Mwananchi. And that should be the starting point. Once we we train the people about what is BBI, we give them time to read, we read for them, we train them. That's the time we can rule now and say that BBI is a bad thing. So I think the narrative of Asal versus dynasty did not come now. It started 2018, not now. So I think it's not about BBI, but it's a very bad narrative, and we need to do away with the tribals, lining people in politics, and also ourselves as dynasty.
All right, let me hear from you, Professor, and we're getting to the tail end of this, so I'll request that we just keep our points as short as we can. And if we're talking about ideas and ideology, we have the likes of Martha Karua, who has always stood out to speak differently from what the political, class is saying, and there seems to be ideas that she has, and she did this again even during the burial of Honorable Musalia Mudavadi, and part of what she said was that let us allow space for dissent. Let's allow space for different thinking. Do you feel that, politically speaking, we even have that space? And your thoughts on leaders like Martha Karua, who may have ideas, but for some reason never quite get to the top of, the political pinnacle?
Thank you. I think she is one of the most rational politicians I've seen here. Mudavadi is also rational when it comes to economics. But the last speaker, I would like to remind him that this is in our polity, people bring ideas. They don't have to lean to blandishment. The beauty of this Asula movement, whether we like it or not, is that it's actually uniting people across tribes. So as it grows, it will reduce emotions which were attached to the tribe. It will go to economics, because there is economic philosophies. There is a trickle-down economics where we allow people to get rich and hope the money comes down, or there is bottom-up economics, where, like the Democrats are insisting people get $2,000 instead of $600 in America. The Republicans say, no, that will abandon us in debts. So the Asula movement, we need to stop demonizing it as dividing the country, and start insisting that they put meat in the bone so that we have policy. That is number one. Number two, what the mother was saying is also we need to increase the level of tolerance. And because this is a democracy. When you look at the BBI, I want to remind the last speaker that 98% of the BBI is Article 43. The chapter on corruption is unimplementable unless you repeal Article 99, Section 3, which allows you to continue leading us where you have cases in court until you exhaust those things. For example, if Isoko resigned before he was impeached, he could still run because of that Article 93. What brought the BBI was a desire to have an electoral system that we all trust, so that when you lose, you just go home, because there will be winners and losers in our polity. BBI has done nothing in terms of Article 86, which prescribes the kind of electoral system that we need. So we need an BBI to come to us with an electoral offences bill, which makes a capital offense for anybody to tamper with our elections. It doesn't have that. So what it can give us is expansion of parliament and the expansion of the executive, and the people feel that we don't need jobs. We need the people to serve us. They feel that the system we have is sufficient for us as long as the president and his cabinet is working for the people of Kenya. Now, you don't criminalize that. You allow the debate around that. And you explain your position, because that is a polity. This is what we need. This is how we bring cohesiveness. This is how we bring the nation together. So we need to avoid saying that this Asula versus this will bring war. It doesn't have to. We need to control that. We need to challenge them. We need to tell them, put meat in the bone. We also don't have to counter that by enlarging the debate, by introducing the tribal divisions. We don't have to do that. We come with our ideas so that there is a marketplace of ideas. The Kenyans are clever. I interacted with them. These people are intelligent. These people can imbibe the ideas. They can select good ideas. And above all, they really want to live in peace with one another. We ask the politicians to allow us to live Prof. peaceably.
Let me now just come to your closing remarks. I'll give you a minute each as we wind up. I'll start with you, Honorable Arthur Odera, your closing remarks as we finish.
Just my closing remarks will be very brief, but just adding to what Professor has said, the hustler narrative is compelling, it is unstoppable, and the thing about the hustler narrative, those who are fighting it, trying to counter it, are missing a trick. The hustler narrative is about the economy. at a time when COVID has ravaged the economy, which was already doing badly even before COVID. It is about the economy. It goes to the heart of the lives of the people. And because they are offering an argument that says, you guys who are doing badly, we are here for you, even before they give any substance to that argument of how that will be done. My closing remarks would be that in the circumstances we are in, children are going back to school. Hopefully our economy will open up a lot more, and we are hoping that soon the president will do away with the curfew so that life can come back to normal economically. Mr. President, please tell us about the vaccine. We've heard something from the cabinet secretary. We would like to hear from none other than the president that a vaccine is on the way, and give us a program for vaccination of Kenyans. Tell us that it is going to be free for all Kenyans, because I've got anecdotes over the weekend that some people are getting vaccinated in Kenya today as we speak. And there are fears that there is going to be people vaccinated either because they pay or because they are connected one way or the other. We would like to hear the president tell us about
on
the vaccine.
All right, Honorable Kimilu, your closing remarks, please.
Okay, thank you very much. My closing remarks are, one, we need united Kenya, and I want to advise politicians not to incite Kenyans, because we want a peaceful election 2022, come 2022. And finally, Mr. President, the parents are suffering. The government needs to do something to our schools, because our students, there is no money in schools, and they need to continue with their education. So as government, Mr. President, do something and help the parents, because they are suffering.
All right, Professor, your closing remarks very briefly, please.
Yes, as we move towards 2022, the political temperatures will go up. I think I asked the politicians and the Kenyans to be tolerant, to allow varied ideas, because through those ideas that we are going to grow, I would like our government to think carefully about this economy. As long as this economy continues to underperform, we are very likely going to have some social unrest along the way. So we would like changes. Changes are good, but changes need to be looked against the current situation. The priority should be economy and the COVID-19.
All right, thank you very much. And that right there is the way it is. Thank you very much, Professor Gitile Naitule, who's a former NCIC commissioner, Honorable Joshua Kimilu, who's a member of parliament, Kaiti constituency, and Honorable Arthur Odera, former member of parliament, Teso North. And that's where we're going to wind up the way it is right here on Morning Express. But Morning Express is not over. We still have Sports Chat coming up with Robin Toskin to just give us an update of what's happening in the sporting world. So do stay with us. We take a short break, but we'll be right back with Sports Chat.